Welcome back to Out of Focus. I've got a special guest today, my husband, Mike. We thought today we'd do something a little more fun and lighthearted so you can get to know us better. And we are two very imperfect people, very human people who love Jesus with all of our hearts. Welcome back. I didn't know I'd see you so soon,
I didn't know you'd see me so soon either.
but you're so excited.
I am excited because I just want to make sure everyone
Here
knows
we
it's
go.
clear that, yes, I did hang that shelf today. You're welcome. However, I want to go to a football game next Thursday night. So I said, I will do a podcast with you if you'll agree to go to the football game with me with a happy heart.
But I would have went anyway.
Well, it's a win-win for everybody.
It is. Do you remember when we first started dating and you told me this so many times? I am never going to start another church.
Yes.
And then you added, God would have to almost speak to me audibly for me to start a church.
Actually, I said, I think he would have to come sit down across the table from me and look me in the eye and tell me, yeah.
So what changed?
I mean, obviously God spoke to me, not audibly, but he certainly spoke to my spirit. And as much as I resisted and convinced myself otherwise, and when people would bring it up, just say, no, no. One thing I have learned on life's journey is that life's a lot easier if you do it his way and surrender. So there you go.
Amen to that. There's always blessings on the road of obedience. What were some of the biggest shocks when you ended up back in ministry, especially with me by your side?
One, that people would actually show up. I wasn't sure about that. Two, I have an incredibly beautiful wife. So there you go. Three, how much of a team effort this was going to be. How you step in. If it needs to be done, you get it done. I don't have many strengths. I can teach a little bit, and I'm pretty good at gathering people. But I think everybody that knows me knows that you're the brains behind what's going on.
Oh, you have lots of strength. That's
No.
ridiculous. I didn't exactly sign up this for either, but here we are.
Here we
and
are.
it has been a blessing to be on this journey with you. And I'm just so thankful that God has chosen us for this assignment. It's been incredible
It's been a wild ride.
it really has already to see people's lives,
Yeah.
to see them several months later, the change and the transformation that God has done in them.
Yep. No
It's
matter what's going on, it seems like when you hear those stories, it's like, all right, it's worth it.
It is worth it. It's worth the headache sometimes because I didn't know what behind the scenes ministry is.
Yeah.
You make it look so easy. What was one of the hardest lessons you've learned about ministry the second time around?
I went from pastoring a church of thousands of people to starting a church with 7 people. I think somehow I had the idea that if the church was smaller, it would be more perfect. People would act better, behave nicer. I think one of the things that surprised me is people are people, whether it's in a large church or a small church, people are people. And we're all on a journey, and we're all in the process of being changed and transformed to the image of Jesus Christ. And that's a journey. And so I've always said one of the keys to happiness in life is to have low expectations. And if you can keep your expectations at least realistic, I found that it's a much better journey. Yeah.
What has been one of the most rewarding moments so far?
Just meeting people initially, spending time with them, finding out, like everybody else, if you pull back a few layers of the onion, there's always a mess somewhere, right? It might be in your life personally, it might be in your family. But to learn this about people, but then see the transformation that happens as God begins to work in their lives. That's the rewarding part. When you see someone walk in on Sunday and you think the condition they walked in the first time and the condition they are in now because of what God is doing in their life, it keeps you coming back for more.
And it started out as 7 as a Bible study in the back of a bar of a restaurant.
Bar of a restaurant.
And then now by God, we're filling up an auditorium. So
yeah, it's nothing like teaching the Bible with a shelf full of fine whiskeys behind you. The backdrop.
We're not there anymore.
But God moved us out.
It's so crazy, the steps, how he stirred up this person to do that. Then we could move out of the school and how he's even.
And that's how God has spoken. He's spoken by moving. God, I'll do this, but I don't have the financial resources to do it. We don't have a place to go. God reminded me that Before the Red Sea parted, Moses had to lift his staff. He had to take the initiative. Before he parted the Jordan River so the Israelites could walk into the promised land, he told the priest, you got to put your feet in the water, even though it's flood stage. And when they did, he opened the waters. And as you know, there's been several points along this journey where I felt like, okay, I'm just going to take the initiative, but I don't have the financial resources. I don't have a facility. And almost immediately every time God has provided, he's shown up as only he can. And so that's a way of knowing that even Gideon in the Bible 6 different times asked for a sign.
A fleece, right?
Yeah. And a lot of them, a lot of different signs. And I think sometimes God will just like, if you'll just trust me and take the step, I'll do my part. So,
It's almost like he wants to see you have faith.
yeah. But at the same time, I've always had a saying, if you want to move a mountain, you want God to move a mountain, you better show up with a shovel, which means you got a part to do too. But if we'll do our part, God will do his part. And it's just amazing how it all fits together.
I used to be like that a little bit. Just pray for God to do something, but he's waiting on me to move my feet or do something with my hands or call someone or apply for this particular agency I wanted to sign with. Sometimes he requires us to take the first step, like you said.
Yeah. And along that line, one thing I learned is praying for things. People would come to me often, maybe with a financial need. And I'm like, oh, I'll pray for you. And God's like, why are you going to pray? You have the resources to meet their need. You are the answer to their prayer. Quit praying about it and just be obedient. And sometimes I think we can hide behind prayer and when God's already given us the answer and we just have to move forward. So
I will say there's sometimes I've been confused and I haven't known what to do. But my mom, she's always told me something. She said, unless you have peace, stand still. And so I did not move. I did not do anything. I waited until I had peace to move forward.
And that's good wisdom right there.
She's a wise woman. If you could go back and tell your younger self something about pastoring, what would you say? And did you always want to be a pastor?
I would warn my younger self, you will lose all your hair. I would do that. No, actually, I grew up going to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. I used to look at the pastor and think that is the worst job in the world. You have to be there all the time. And so I'm like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that with my life. When I grow up, I'm going to make choices about church and my spiritual life and those kinds of things, which obviously I did. But my dream was to be a football coach. And so when I went to school, I was a PE major, science minor, wanted to coach football, went to California, got to do that for a while. But through a series of events, volunteering at a church, working with teenagers, it exploded, just that Sunday school class. And the church said, hey, would you leave that career and come be a youth minister? And I thought, well, yeah, I'll try it. I can always go back to teaching and coaching. But then the senior pastor had to step down for health reasons. I was 24 years old. And they said, well, we need you to fill in until we find someone. So I just started teaching Sunday school to the high schoolers and then shifting gears and going and speaking in big church. And after about 9 months, they were like, ooh, you need to do this. And then I went to seminary and at Talbot Seminary. And so, no, I never planned it, but it's been an incredible journey.
I know one thing you always say is that you regret not going in the military.
If I could do it all over again, that would be, I mean, obviously man makes his plans, God directs his steps, but I am an incredibly patriotic person and you know it.
I know you are.
When I go to a football game and they sing the Star Spangled Banner and those jets fly over, I'm going to cry every time. That's just the way I am. And there's just something, I just always wish I had served my country in the military. That would have been something I would have enjoyed.
You are forever impacting the kingdom of God. So
somebody came up to me the other day and asked me if I was a Marine, if I had served in the Marines. I said, no, I served in the Lord's army.
Yeah.
And he laughed. I found out he was a Christian too, but it's a different kind of battle, but it's a real battle. And so
we're in a battle every day,
every day,
a spiritual one. What's it like being married to me and doing ministry together?
It is the most incredible thing in the world.
I know you answered it before, but
sometimes I feel guilty because I've done this for years and you kind of have to get used to, there's a dark side of ministry. I call it the underbelly of ministry. When I pastored a large church and had 200 people on staff, I used to warn them when they came on staff because they thought they were going like Christian camp. We sat around, held hands, sang Kumbaya all day and I said, you're getting ready to see the dark side of Christianity because you're going to see people at their worst. You're going to see them at work every day. Sometimes they're going to have good attitudes. Sometimes they're going to have bad attitudes. Sometimes they're going to walk with Christ. Sometimes they're going to walk in the flesh. And I felt guilty at times. I felt bad at times because when I asked you to marry me, This was not on the agenda. This is not what you signed up for. But I will say this, you have embraced it with all of your heart. Your work ethic blows my mind. Like when you built our app, you'd never built an app. You didn't know how to build an app.
And I don't want to do that again.
But you figured out how to build an app and all of those different things that you set up and the things behind the scenes where you don't get any credit. You don't get any glory for it because nobody knows it's getting done. But we couldn't do what we do without you. So it's been a real joy. It comes with its challenges. Like sometimes I feel like we have different work schedules. You know me, I get up about 3 or 4 in the morning and try to get a lot of my work done. And so I think we do different shifts sometime, but we do it together and it works out. So
it definitely has been a different experience. I didn't know the other side of it. I also have learned a lot about pastors. I always thought you really teach and you do a phenomenal job. You make it look so easy, but I've gotten to see like how many hours you study, how you labor over the messages, how you edit them, how if something's not right, you correct it and you just pray over it that it's really what God wants you to say on that particular weekend. And when I see you speak or any like pastors, I never realized the hours that goes into it that people never see. And also like the counseling sessions or the hospital visits or how available you are. You truly have a shepherd's heart. And that has been just great to see because I'm like, you really do care about people.
I definitely do.
And you're not just one that like wants to stand up on a stage and be the face of something. I see you get your hands down and dirty and you really love people.
The teaching parts in a lot of ways is the reward for everything else that goes on.
I love how when you find something in the Bible and you're like, come here, look what the Holy Spirit told me. I have never seen this before in how many years? And you get so excited, but
it's almost weekly. I see something, learn something. Like just this week, I had never seen this before, but talks in all the Gospels that when Jesus was crucified, that it went dark between 12 noon and 3. And I was reading Ezekiel of all things this week. And Ezekiel talked about that when the shepherd comes, he'll gather his sheep that have been scattered. And basically it says he will take care of like his sheep on a dark day when it's cloudy and dark. And it's a reference to the fact that was going to happen 700 years later. And I'm like, wow, right there it tells us in Ezekiel that sure enough, the earth was going to go dark when Jesus hung on the cross. And sometimes I'm like, wow, how did I ever miss that as much as I've read it? But yeah, you can always see and learn new things.
I even learned something from your last weekend's mentions about the rod and his staff. I did think that, like, is he going to use that to keep me?
Yeah, that's to pop me upside the head if I get out of line as a sheep.
But it's not. It's to protect you from the wolves, from the lions.
Yep, to keep the enemy away from us.
What an awesome shepherd we have.
Yep.
So we're going to turn the page a little bit here, and we're going to do something rapid fire, and it's going to be fun. And I have a few questions and just answer them.
Really?
Yes.
And this is going to be fun?
Well, it depends, I guess, on how you answer them. Just be honest. It's fun.
Are we still going to be speaking afterwards?
This podcast is about unfiltered grace, taking off the mask. So we're just going to be real. So no one is perfect.
Here we go.
Here we go. Who's more likely to forget an important date?
Me.
That's true. Laugh at the wrong time in church?
You.
Me? Really?
No, sometimes I find things funny that other people don't find funny.
Start a dance party in the kitchen?
Definitely you.
Yes. Will you join in with me?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Perfect. That's what I was going to say. Fall asleep during a movie?
Guilty as charged.
But you get up so early. So that could be why. Order dessert first?
I don't know that either one of us do that, but I guarantee you my mind's on that topic. You never know when the world's going to come to an end.
So if you take anything away from this podcast today, eat dessert first.
I would like to also state that if there is dessert on the table, I will not leave the table without all that dessert being consumed. So it's a priority.
It's all right. A lot of people have a sweet tooth. Lose their phone or keys?
I think that's me.
You think?
Well, let's just say that you don't put your phone down. And so
yes, I do. But I do.
Hey, is this unfiltered?
I have a purse, so it goes in my purse, maybe in my pocket. Have I ever lost my keys?
Not that I'm aware of, but good gracious, they're like the size of a spare tire. You're gonna lose them. It's on a ring about this big.
Sister got me that. My sister. I love that ring. That's why I don't lose my keys. Maybe you need one. Cry during a movie or commercial.
I will cry in a heartbeat.
That's right.
Yeah.
Funnest ministry mishap we've had together.
I'm sure there has been some, but I can't think of one right now.
I can't either. One word to sum up marriage so far.
Fun.
Go-to comfort meal after a long Sunday.
I love your chili, but hey, that's our little date time cheeseburger. But fruit on the side, though, because I like to eat healthy.
Who has the strangest morning routine?
Well, we really can't get into all the details, but me probably. No.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Not you. You don't even have any hair.
Let's just say we both have our routines.
Dream job if you weren't in ministry.
I coach college football.
Mine would still be to be a supermodel. I have to answer that one. I've always loved the camera since I was 5. I don't know.
You will probably achieve that before I become a college football coach.
I don't know. A day together you love to relive.
When we were in Montana and we went on that long horseback ride up in the mountains, it just was a special day.
That was fun. I remember being really nervous because I could not imagine in my mind how this horse was going to make it up this mountain with me on the back of it. That's all my rapid fire questions.
I crushed them.
You did crush them.
I did crush them.
I feel like I want to ask one, but I don't know if I have any more.
Come on, it's unfiltered.
Why don't you leave someone with a word of encouragement? Let's say someone has lost hope. They can't see any light at the end of the tunnel. They're really discouraged and they're having a hard time.
This is what I learned this week, so I'll pass it on. It's meant a lot to me. Doing a series on the 23rd Psalm, and it says, surely goodness and mercy will follow you all the days of your life. I kid that they're sheepdogs. They're chasing you around. But goodness is an attribute of God. He's incapable of not being good. And what a lot of people don't know is the attributes of God complement each other. And since he's everlasting to everlasting, which is infinite, his goodness can never run out. Since he's all powerful, a lack of power will never prevent him from being good. He's immutable. He can't change, so he'll always be good.
You taught me that word, by the way.
The one thing I would leave people with is Romans 8:28, when it says all things work together for good. God has a way of taking any situation. It could be something where you're the victim. It could be something that you brought on yourself. He has the ability to take any situation and turn it into good. And when he does, it just blows your mind. So I would just say to anyone who's like, my life's a mess, my relationships are a mess, I don't think I can ever recover or get over this, that God is a God of goodness. When it says he will follow you all the days of your life, the Hebrew word is he will chase you with goodness.
Wow.
He's not chasing you with judgment. In fact, if somebody feels like they're running from God's judgment, it says he's chasing you with goodness and mercy. And so stop running. Just stop running and surrender, and you'll be amazed at what God may do in your life.
And even if they've been running, it takes one step to return.
I get to his pivot,
Do
a 180. It's like the prodigal son. The father looked, and every day I think he probably walked out to the end of the driveway and looked for his silhouette in the distance. And the day he saw him, he said he ran to him. And in the first century, Jewish men did not run. It was not considered proper etiquette, but it says he ran to him. And so all it took is that one step toward home. He'll be all over you.
Wow. I can't imagine living my life without him. He's the anchor in the storm.
Can you imagine living your life without me? Do not answer that question. On that note.
We're like best friends. You're a kindred spirit.
You're my kindred spirit.
Aw. Thank you guys for joining us today on Out of Focus. If today's episode made you laugh or reminded you that God uses real people, not perfect ones, make sure you subscribe. Remember, when life feels out of focus, there is always one who brings clarity. We'll see you next time.